Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out New Cat Body by Jeremy Campbell.
Good afternoon. It is Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. How's everybody doing today? JJ. It's JJ McCarthy out of Michigan says he won't sign until he's paid his signing bonus up front, and it's paid after you're signed. You can't make this stuff up. What's going on here in Minnesota? Dallas Turner hasn't signed yet either, and he hasn't made a stink about it. But JJ's saying he won't sign until his signing bonus is paid up front. I don't get where these guys coming out of college think that they deserve different treatment than every other rookie since the CBA was set with a rookie salary cap. But this is getting ridiculous across the board. Holy smokes, I can't believe it's gotten to this point. What do you guys think about that? About JJ and everything? Trace is in here saying, "Hey, Jeremy, good to see you, Trace." But man, I I think NIL is not helping these guys be more mature with how they handle their contracts. Doesn't sound like JJ at all. Never thought he'd do that. I think the only reason he left Michigan is because Jim Harbaugh isn't there. I don't think he's ready for NFL. Sounds like JJ should have been shouting, "Go green." Yes, yes, Brent DeWitt. No, I did not. I have been busy. Davey says he loves it. I just don't get it. But it hurts Minnesota. So there's only 5 first-round picks that haven't signed. And 2 are Chicago's, 2 are Minnesota's, and I don't know the other team, but they were all high-profile NIL guys coming out of college. That tells me that these high-profile NIL deals are not helping guys with handling how they do their contracts. It's making them feel more entitled. And this might be a sign of things coming down the road. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying it's set in stone, but that's what it looks like from the outside looking into me. So a couple of 49ers beat writers, they're not technically insiders, but they have linked the Lions. That's insane to demand that before signing. Yeah, but he's got a court case going on with Fanatics. I believe he signed his contract. He won't sign the jersey deal yet because Fanatics is trying to claim 20% of all his jersey sales. So he hasn't signed that deal yet because he only signed an offer sheet with Fanatics. He didn't sign the contract. So he's saying they have no legal hold on whatever he makes as a pro. And Buddy Conquito says shame, and Tracy says, "Hey Brent," because we've all frequented other chats of other shows. I've just been busy lately. I had a chance to be on with Ken and Ken in the morning with Ken Doby, a Bears fan, Ken Catalone, the Packers fan, and Packer backer Rob. So I just had to throw some shade on Ken Doby there because both of his first round picks haven't signed, and it's the first day of rookies reporting to camp there in Chicago. Uh, I believe I don't know if it was today or if it's Friday for the Lions. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know who the fifth holdout is, but I think it might be MHJ. Oh my God, Martinez, who retired and tried to come back last year. Again, the views of Jeremy Ballrick Jr. does not reflect that of Smoking Jeremy B or kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. After talking like that, makes me wonder how the veterans will look at him when he shows up. So MHJ has got a legal battle going on, and he might be the fifth one, but I don't know. But it isn't because he doesn't want to sign his contract; it's because there's people trying to take his money that don't deserve it. And I totally get that. And if that's what's going on, and he's the fifth one that hasn't signed, I'm perfectly fine with how that's going until that legal battle is handled. He isn't my real son, buddy. I can't even tell you his birthday. He took my picture and called it Jeremy Ballrick Jr. It's okay. I like it because you know what? People who troll you and using your image and likeness, that's the highest sign of flattery in this business. Watch out because there will be a Motor City Mania with two eyes in Mania. Yeah, Junior is a troll account. Yes, sir. But he does love the Lions. He just likes throwing out stupid questions out there, and it's funny. It's good for a laugh. I let them stay in there. I don't block my haters. I don't block trolls because guess what? If you do that, you're as thin skinned as the snowflakes everybody complains about. Just saying. And notice I didn't say right wing, left wing, liberal, Democrat, Republican, any of that. I didn't go political. I just said snowflakes. And I mean the people who are Karens and cry and whine all the time. That's where I'm at. But the other thing, he's entertaining. And yes, that's why I leave him in. And that's why I do the disclaimer statement. And people laugh at it because it's funny. But my son was a Lions fan. My oldest son, the one that is the reason I do podcasting. Rest his soul. 8 years gone. But at the same time, let's get into better subjects because I don't feel like being sad today. The other one is a 49ers beat writer and a Raiders beat writer has linked the Lions trading for either Debo or Ayuk, and then a Raiders beat writer linked us to trading, possibly trading for uh, Devontae Adams. Well, all these guys would be great on this team. Debo has a big salary. We're already talking about we need to have more salary for next season to sign core players that might leave the team. So at the same time, I don't like the idea of Debo. Ayuk is looking to get paid like I'm on Ross St. Brown to Jefferson money. So does that make sense to me to trade for a guy that's in the last year of his rookie contract? Only if you're going to use him as a rental and not re-sign him. So I'm going to refute that one. Trading for Devontae Adams. Well, he has a nice lower than well, no, he'd be the highest paid wide receiver on the team if we traded for him, unless Raiders decide to take on some of that money. Oh, you are booked for August 11th? Good. I will try to get in here shortly. I just got the show to do. That's more important than getting tickets to me. My fans are more important. Unless you got an extra ticket, I'll go. But at the same time, Devontae Adams makes $45 million next year, which is more than we have in salary cap. So in other words, unless they're paying over half that salary or we restructure him immediately, and he has to agree to it, that has to be done before we trade for him. So I think it's all just they looked at the teams that had enough cap room to take any of these contracts and wrote up stuff, because I have heard nothing out of any of the pressure quotes, any of the sheets coming out of Allen Park to back this up. So until I see something out of Allen Park, I'm going to say all that is they saw, hey, they've got cap room. Let's trade them to them. That's what I see. Am I saying any one of those guys doesn't make our wide receiver room better? I'd be lying. Devontae Adams is still a top 10 wide receiver, no matter what you think. And Ayuk was a top 10 wide receiver last year. So there you go. It is what it is. All of them would make our receiving room better, but I don't see us trading for them. I don't see us giving up draft capital. I don't see us giving up multiple millions of dollars to get another wide receiver. I think Ayuk stays in San Francisco till the trade deadline, until somebody desperate for another weapon trades for him to try to make a playoff push that's just outside of the playoff window. Other than that, I think he'll be a San Francisco 49er on the whole year. And Buddy Conquito says no on all three. And I agree. I don't think we're going to get any of them. I think all three guys stay right where they're at. Okay, I guess I'm an idiot because nobody ever explained to you what the heck is a troll. A troll is a person who makes comments that makes no sense or says stuff that's negative about your team or about your fan base. Um, so, and this is a fake account. It's called a burner account, is actually what it is. Using my picture from my Lions page to go ahead and make some comments that we've never heard come out of my mouth before. Yoli, good to see you. Top fan of the Huddle Sports Network Facebook page. Hatter's House 710. Good morning from Cali. Go Lions. I was talking about burner and troll accounts and stuff like that on YouTube. Yoli. There's one in here that used. Yes, you are. Broski Bear. Yeah, that's a troll account. That's a troll account making bad comments about a team with no information to back it up. I liked how I got him to go quiet and talk about the Bears this morning on Coach Dan's show and or Kurt's show. Right. Yes, Brent, him. He's trolling. Lions would be the last team the 49ers would do any trading with. I I get it, but a 49ers beat writer put that out there. Oh, you kicked them out. Wow. That's why we haven't seen him lately. Kudos. Ayuk is a UFA next year. I would not give up much to get him. Would he help? Maybe. It really depends on if you give him the contract he wants for the next year. That's the thing. Ayuk wants something long term. Broski doesn't like me. He doesn't like me much either because I literally made him turn his attention off of trolling Moonscar today on Kurt Steele's show. I literally said, "Aren't you worried about Caleb and Rome?" Broski was antagonizing the other day and got kicked out. He does it all the time. And it's, well, I get it. It makes the chat more entertaining for some people, but some people actually do take offense to what Broski Bearfat says. And he doesn't like you either. Well, there's no accounting for taste. taste there, Trace. You can't help it. You're good people. I like you. 100%. But at the same time, we are all fans of the NFL. We all have our rival fan bases. We are all going to troll somebody at one point or another, whether intentional or not. It's trolling the team. It's when people, oh, hello, Joelle. I'm not a lion hater. I will only say this once. It'd be nice to have them get in this over, but they need better, consistent receivers or they're not going to get there. Well, our most consistent receivers are the reason why we didn't get there last year. I will say that. The ones that were consistent all season kind of flubbed in that second half. So, at, while I get what you're saying, we need the players to continue to perform at the same level they did prior to those games to be able to get there, if that makes sense. In other words, let the moment not overwhelm you. That's what I need to see. The coaching, the players, all of them, they got overwhelmed in the moment over circumstances out of their control. And the only way to control it was to continue doing what they were doing, and they didn't do that. That's what I saw. The Lions have it. Exactly, Jeremy. All right. Good. I'm glad I got that out there. Yes, those ones did choke terrible. Okay. So you can't say we don't have Broski is a real diehard fan, but he takes it to the extreme. 100%, buddy Conquito. And I don't mind. But I will say in Kurt Steele's chat, when I put in there, I was like, hey, Broski, are you concerned with Caleb and Rome not signing their rookie deals yet? He goes, yes. I got him to change it. I was changing his focus because he was getting ready to attack Moonscar. And Moonscar's a great Lions fan in these chats. Yes, and today is Barry Sanders' birthday. Congratulations, Barry Sanders. Another birthday you made it to. 100% happy birthday to the GOAT. That guy right there, that signature. Yeah, that did shut him up. Because I made him focus on his own team instead of focusing on everybody else in the chat and focusing on the Lions. He goes, yeah, Kneecap, that is concerning for me. I don't know what the hell is going on. It literally took us to the end of the show, and then Kurt was done with being live. It was great. I just don't understand why people see beat writers from other teams say that this is who they should trade them to and think that means that Detroit's talking to that team. Because right, exactly. If you fold when the lights are the brightest, there's usually a repetitive reason. A la Lamar, Dak, Kirk. Phil Rivers can be added to that list. Jimmy G can be added to that list. And right now you can add Brock Purdy. Hey, Jordan Love versus the 49ers. His last pass was an interception. That's not a good look when it was that bad of a pass when you see it from over his shoulder. I will listen to him when the Bears prove they are good. 100%. I am 100% there. Adam Rank says they think the Bears are going to win the division. He's one of the few NFL prognosticators out there that has said such a thing. I think there's been 5 that said they think the Bears win the division. Everybody else think it's coming down to the Lions and Packers. I think I'm going to go along with everybody else. Plus, Vegas has us at 10.5. Packers at 9.5. The Bears are at 8.5. The Vikings are at 7.5. So if you follow that logic, they expect it to be Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings. And that's in Vegas. and they usually get their order right. He's been smoking those synthetics too. Adam Rank sucks. He does. He does. I agree. He he has the same type of bold takes that you see from Nick Wright, who usually retracts them by week 5 every season. Remember 2 years ago, uh, Nick Wright on his podcast there on Fox Sports said the Chicago Bears are winning the NFC North because they drafted Justin Fields, or 3 years ago. I agree with all your ads on except Purdy. Why Purdy? Okay, it Purdy is in that rare group of QBs where everything has to be perfect. And hear me out. Purdy's a game manager that can throw the ball accurately up to 40 yards downfield. We all know this. If the pocket breaks down and it's less than 3rd and 8, he has just enough athleticism to get out there and make the first down for your team when the pocket breaks down. But if his left tackle is out and his running back is out, how does Purdy look? Exactly the same way that Goff looks without Frank Ragnow at center and either one of our starting running backs hurt. It's the same thing. He's a game manager. He's not elite, and he folded under the big lights. Until you see him get past that, he folded under the big lights. Put it this way: if you put Purdy on the Chiefs, do they make the Super Bowl last year? And if you put Pat Mahomes on the 49ers, do they lose a game? One's elite, one's in his 3rd year this season. That's why I don't put Purdy up there in the top of my list. He has yet to get it done. He choked like Reynolds did, 100%. Amon Ra had 3 drops in the NFC Championship game, and nobody's coming at his throat. And everybody forgets that. He dropped a big one on 2nd down. I would not want Purdy as our QB, but at the same time, Purdy on this roster would probably be just as successful. Why? The O-line is just as good. The running back game is just as good. Total yards, we had more total yards. I wouldn't take Purdy either. I would it, but at the same time, not. That's only if we didn't have Goff already. That let me rephrase that. If we didn't have Goff, I definitely would take Brock Purdy because he's just as good with a great team around him. But when things go south, they go south. That doesn't matter either. Any QB. Do you see where I'm getting at there? I'm not trying to be mean. And they all failed in the second half of that game. Yeah, and I put that more on coaching on both for both teams, Detroit and San Francisco in the second half of those games. We should have never stopped running the ball in the 3rd quarter after Gibbs fumbled, but we did. We didn't run the ball again until the 3rd play of the 4th quarter. Everybody says, "Oh, we tried to run and we couldn't." No, we didn't take a snap in the running game. I went back and looked at every snap. Pass for 3 yards, incomplete pass, punt. Pass for 4 yards, incomplete pass, turnover. Be mean, JB. Yeah, hey, I'm just saying. Our coaching failed just as much as Kyle Scamaham in the Super Bowl. Kyle Scamaham did the same thing. Christian McCaffrey got stopped on his first running play and didn't run the ball again until the 4th quarter. By that time, the damage was done. They lost their lead. Same thing happened to Detroit, but we had bigger smaller microfractures a problem. Right. He's still too young to say he folded. He's going to get better. Already been to a Super Bowl. I agree. He would be great in our offense. Ben would bring out the best of him, in my opinion. But at the same time, you got to remember Ben is running the offense where he added. I do tell it like it is. I don't sugarcoat anything. I've called Kyle Scamaham ever since the Fail Cants lost that game where they were leading by 21 points at halftime, and the Patriots came back and beat them by 3. Any new Lions news? Other than rumors, nothing. There's nothing out there. All our guys are signed. Rookies are coming to camp this week. That's it. That's all there is. Cleveland signed their kicker to a record deal. I doubt it. I have heard nothing out of Allen Park is undone. Yes, we have 2 open roster spots, really. We have 88 on the roster, I believe it is, or 87, I can't remember which. So there's 2 roster spots open. I doubt we sign anybody. I don't want Michael Thomas on this roster 100%. He's a cancer in the locker room. He doesn't stay healthy, and he's absolute dog crap for the last 5 years. Right. Third quarter lulls on both sides of the ball is unacceptable this year. What happened to Jason Kabinda? Often injured, rarely on the field, cannot do his job properly at fullback. Malcolm Rodriguez, with no training, did better on accident. That's what happened to Jason Kabinda. He was cut this offseason. Only thing Jason Kabinda was good at is tackling on special teams, and we've got other guys that are just as good, if not better. Speaking of second team All Pro, Jalen Reeves Maven. We brought back CJ Moore, who's good at that. Sion Vaki, who is a willing returner, blocker in special teams, and also can tackle. There was many reasons why they didn't keep Kabinda. I like Jason Kabinda. He's a kid out of Penn State. I think he's a great human being. I know he did a lot for the community, but if you don't show the grit on the field to stay on the field, you don't deserve to stay in a Lions uniform. Why wouldn't they re-sign Quintez Cephas? Because Quintez Cephas had one good season with us his rookie year while everybody else was injured and fell apart ever since. And then proof that he didn't deserve to be re-signed this year. He went to the Bills and didn't make it and already got. Has Malcolm ever played tight end? No, but Malcolm Rodriguez played running back, quarterback, safety, and linebacker in high school. Kabinda had 3 catches in his career on 12 targets. If I remember right. It might be a little more than that, but I can remember 12 targets in 1 year and only 3 catches, and none of them for touchdowns. I, I don't remember Kabinda playing a lot. It seemed like every time I saw him more than 10 snaps, he'd be out for the season. Would you trade for T. Higgins? No, because he wants a bag. Pe- People always want us to trade for somebody that wants 30 to 35 million a year, and T. Higgins is a wide receiver too on 80% of the rosters in the NFL. He's not a one. I don't want him. I don't want him. He wants a bag. He just signed his franchise tag. He's gonna be playing with the. Yeah, I'm leery on trading for anybody that wants a bag. That's where I'm at. I don't get it. Signing someone that's good and young, I'm okay with. Justin Simmons is young, but he wants a lot of money. That's not the type of signings that Brad Holmes does. Brad Holmes has told you the type of players he's signing. People that want to win and will do it for cheap. He will take chances on an injured player. Yeah, but it would be a rental and an expensive rental at a $25 million cap hit, which leaves no money for rollover. I, I, I disagree with you. I don't think he'd be an upgrade over JMO because we don't know what JMO can do. You are still salty because he hurt your fantasy team, and I get that. But DPJ, he hasn't even had an off season to work out with the team, so you don't know if he'd be an upgrade because in that year when they had no quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson's first year there because he was hurt, DPJ actually had a good year. He had 69 receptions on 80 targets, 3 drops, a contested catch rate of 82%, and he had almost 900 yards and 5 touchdowns that year. It was after they drafted the rookie, who's cheaper because he was a later round pick, who's faster, about the same size, can play the slot. It moved DPJ down the roster, but DPJ was still playing 61% of the snaps because he's a better run blocker than that wide receiver. And that's why we brought DPJ in. Brad Holmes is holding off any big signings until he sees if his current guys can produce or not. Look for a big signing or two at the trade deadline if certain players aren't stepping up. Absolutely, blue and silver. Yeah, I've said the same thing. Lions would have to give up a lot for these overpaid players. Well, at 25 million, he's actually in the wide receiver 2 money at the top end of it, but it is wide receiver 2 money for T Higgins. But we would have to give up a lot to get him because I remember another team tried to trade for him and they offered a third and a fifth for Higgins and they turned him down because they're looking for 2 firsts. So if they're looking for 2 firsts, I'm out already. I'm not giving up 2 firsts. Nope, it's still week 8. That's in the next CBA because that has to be done at the CBA time. So 2026 is when it'll change. But according to Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, the idea of 2 bye weeks for an 18-week regular season is a real thing, guys. So if we go to 18 weeks in 2026 season, or it's 2026-27, you will see 2 bye weeks. Technically 3 if you include the week for roster cuts. So there is some positive news up in the future. I do like the idea of 2 bye weeks. I hope it's a set bye week. Do it like week 6 and week 12. Unless you're going to move the Pro Bowl to the middle of the season, then you do it the week before the Pro Bowl, the week after the Pro Bowl, and the Pro Bowl. Do I like an 18 game regular season? No, because that means there's going to be one less preseason game. That also means there's going to be less off season workouts, which usually leads to more soft tissue injuries. A longer season, well, it's good for the players because they get a higher rate of pay. Because in the preseason they barely make anything, and they get bigger game checks for the regular season. Which I don't understand that. That means the owners should charge less for preseason games, but they don't. They cost the same as regular season games versus regular market teams. Your upper market teams are always going to be off of the market value you face. Just to let everybody know. That's why the average cost is up because our high end games are way high, but our low end games against low end teams at home are not as bad as everybody thinks. Buddy Conquito, I love our roster, but there will be some favorites let go. Absolutely 100%. There isn't much that's due up next year. You got Taylor Decker, who has a big void year. Even if you resign him, it does not negate the void year. That is a fallacy. So I don't know if we resign him because that means you'll be wrapping up almost 40 million in one player for 1 year to play tackle. I like the 19 game season or 17 game season. I like the odd number versus everybody else. I like the fact that because at the end of the season, if you have 9 wins, you're over 500. If you have 8 wins, which means you were only half as good as you were in the 16 game season, you have a losing record. Yes, we do have a deep, deep roster. I'll say it before and I say it again. This is the deepest depth of talent I've seen on the Lions roster in my lifetime. Taylor Decker is a Lion for life. I don't think he is. I think this is his last season. And if we make the Super Bowl, he retires. That's my prediction. Only thing I don't like about TC is that fans hype up players who won't even make the roster like they are some star. Who is TC? And who are you talking about that are being hyped up? Who's not going to make the roster that you're talking about? It's looking for a very competitive training card. Fred Peterson, good to see you, sir. Good afternoon. It's a great day to be a Lions. One pride. Oh, training camp? You always get some overhype on rookies that are UDFAs or whatever. I think Decker would take a team friendly deal. I hope he would, but odds are he doesn't. He's been oft injured lately. Look at everything he's been through. I They have like Chase Cota, Dylan Drummond, Pimpleton, etc. This is the best roster this franchise has ever had, and it's only going to get better. I agree. I am not debating that. I'm saying it is the best roster depth wise I've ever seen. Is it as better top end talent wise? No. But there will be hard decisions made because there's going to be some UDFAs that are going to be borderline good players. And there's going to be guys that were drafted late that you have to look at and say, wow, I kind of like this guy better than this guy. And we might be cutting some of those late round guys finally from the team because the depth of talent is that much better, is where I'm going as undone. And that's before we get into training camp. You guys can say what you want, but Eggley Egukun, our UDFA we signed him to a 2-year contract with the most guaranteed money for a reason. He's going to be our backup center to Ragnow. Ragnow's got this year and next year left on his contract. Yeah, if I I don't see why you think our depth is so bad on the O line. And these guys are fighting for their jobs 100%. You know, I don't look at training camp to make roster decisions. I look at preseason games. And there was guys that showed out on the preseason games and they didn't make the roster even though they showed out, but they went to other teams. So that's a fact that they were NFL talent because if the other team signed them, they got to sign them not to their practice squad, to their active roster. Trevor Nowaski is the starting D end of the Arizona Cardinals. He's not on the practice squad. It's either going to be Dan Skipper or it's going to be Manu or Sorsdal because I think Sorsdal's going to make the roster. I know Mahogany's making the roster. You're talking about Dan Skipper did fine. Because guess what they did? They put him at right tackle and they moved Sewell to left tackle. Yeah, but other QBs can overcome poor O-line play. Who cares? So you think if we win the Super Bowl, Decker retires, but if we lose the Super Bowl, he'll take a team-friendly deal for one more shot? I don't know if he takes a team-friendly deal or not. His body is going through a lot, Brent. That's what I'm saying. I don't think Decker takes a deal anyways. I think he retires either way. I didn't say win. I said get to a Super Bowl. Dan Skipper sucks. You know what? If you hate the depth on our roster so much, then leave. I'm done arguing about it. We are rated the best O line because of our depth of O line, and you're poo pooing it. He's not a full time starter, though. You're making fun of it like a full time starter. He's a part time starter. I'm not letting the Dallas game overhype him. Oh my God. Preseason games are great tape for guys that don't make the team. 100%, Buddy Conquito. Fred Peterson, that makes zero sense to say who's saying the depth isn't there. How many games did we have all starters on the field last season and we still had a top O line? Let's see. Ragnow missed 6 games. Decker missed 4 games. Glasgow didn't miss 1. Jonah Jackson missed 9 games last year. We only lost 5 games, people. We only lost 5 games last year, and we've had a total of 17 games missed. Who's poo-poo it? Just got here. Is Undone thinks we have no depth on the O-line. Skipper is depth. He is not the long-term answer. No, but nobody has a long-term answer if one of their main tackles gets hurt in the entire NFL. Holy crap. I hate this stuff. No, you doubted it last year and he made the roster. I think he's going to prove you wrong again. I think we're carrying 10 guys on the O-line. I have said that since the beginning of training camp. I think we're only going to carry 5 wide receivers and 10 O linemen and 3 tight ends because we might carry 4 running backs. And one of them might not be Craig Reynolds. Because if I read everything right out of OTAs, Sion Vaki and Zonovan McKnight both played better in OTAs than Reynolds did. No one else cares, but I still like Mutai. Is Undone is making JB Undone. Lion on lion crime. I love it. How you doing, John Dorn? It's Soccer Dorn in the building. And put him on the active roster, too. If he wasn't on the active roster, he wouldn't have been tackle eligible in 9 games last season. Does practice start today for the rookies for most of the teams in the NFL? Yes. Official start is June 27th. looks like I'm not getting. I don't think Craig Reynolds makes the team. And you're right. Matt Nelson would have made it if he didn't get hurt. But Skipper proved he was a valid option because he actually started some games and he wasn't awful. He does. He hates people on this team that cost him. Who does kick? Right now, it's Khalif Raymond, possibly. I don't know who else. I think Sion Vaki is who they're going to have for the other returner right now. Josh Reynolds had 8 red zone targets last year. Which player replaces those? Shane Zylstra had what was that? 4 out of 8 the year before that. DPJ is valid. JMO got a red zone target last year. He is a Yak King, 100%. Because once we get into the red zone, they cover him like a blanket. Go back and look. And he still catches some of them. I think Vaki is the one that's going to be taking returns with Raymond back there. Have you watched the rapport of anything from OTAs? Have you read the actual reports of how players are doing? Josh Reynolds being gone is probably the best thing that happened to this team because it's going to force Goff to throw to other receivers he normally wouldn't. Josh Reynolds was Goff's security blanket. There, I said it. I've felt that way all 3 years since we signed him mid-season in 2021. It was similar to, Raymond is going to be in a wide receiver spot. I think Zylstra is a sneaky pick to make the roster and a red zone threat. He has to really show out because with his injury history now, and we go to Laporta a lot in red zone, and we occasionally go to Brock Wright, and we went to Dan Skipper. Yeah, so am I. I am really interested in the new kickoff returns more than anything. Before I watched tape on Vaki, I thought Netflix was going to be our RB3, but Vaki is a baller and will be a great camp battle. 100%. 100%. Sion Vaki will be my draft profile tomorrow. Isn't done. Are you even a Lions fan? I understand being a realist, but you're being very skeptical. I think Zylstra might make the team as tight end 3 if he beats out Parker Hess. Parker Hess is a former Sam Laporta teammate from the same college, and I've been hearing great things all OTAs about him. I haven't heard much about how Zylstra's doing, but I know how Zylstra was playing before the year he got injured, and he was a very valid. I hope we do face the Chiefs because we already proved we got a roster that could beat them once. We can beat them again. And don't talk to me about injuries because we've had injuries too. As a matter of fact, we had injuries in that game if you don't remember right. John Mecca McCory, prayers for my orphanage here in Kenya. We are facing challenges like lack of food, shelter, clothing, and lack of clean water. Ah, that's fine. We have veterans living on the street and children living on the street without enough the food to eat, no water here in USA too. My heart goes out to them, but I'm going to take care of ours here. Breaking news. Campbell just went for it on 4th and 12. You know what's funny is on the 4th and 12 and the 4th and 18s and stuff like that are the ones when we make them. You know what? That argument, I hate it, is undone. Injuries happen. People sit out. If they're not on the field, that's not the team that plays them fault. And Tony was an inside plant for camp. Now I know you're a hater. Ooh, that Vaki story of him studying the Lions tape to cure his previously unprepared interview was kind of wild. Hope that somehow makes the clip. 100%. That would be nice. Kadarius Toney came from the Giants. How could he be a Campbell plant? Jesus Christ, some of the stupidest things I've ever heard you heard. And yes, I called that the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say. You've said some stuff out here, but that one takes the cake. I can't believe you even said such a thing. Kadarius Stonehands Jabroni has been that ever since he entered the league. He was reached for by the Giants, traded for by the Chiefs. They prayed they could fix him, and they can't. Fred Peterson, don't don't knock it, but I said Josh Reynolds was probably paid to drop those passes. He smiled too much, laughed too much, and clapped about it too much on the way to the sideline, and acted totally benign to it in the presser. Kadarius Toney dropped passes all year long, not just against the Lions. The Chiefs led the league in drops last year. Is Undone is more than a Lions hater than a little. Than I. For real, dude, show some respect. But yeah, multiple INTs versus Mahomes. You got Tracy Walker, who had how many passes hit him dead in the hands, wide open, and not make an interception last year. Iffy Melifonwu had two of them come to him. He caught both of them. The only one Tracy Walker ever had, it was batted in the air, kind of like the time when Isaiah Buggs batted in the air and got Will Harris his only career interception. Right. We have players out and it's no big deal, but if others do, it's excuses to galore. How can I be a hater? Isn't done. You're a closet Chiefs fan, aren't you? Well, the fact that you called Tony a Campbell plant on the Chiefs roster, that's when I think you're more of a Chiefs fan than a Lions fan. Because I have seen you say more negative stuff about Lions players in here than I've seen you say positive. Everybody doubted that Goff could throw for 4,500 again in double-digit touchdowns after the 9-8 season, and he repeated it with a better running back room and more production out of his running backs as a whole. Granted, Jamal Williams had 17 goal line touchdowns with his longest run of 51, but that didn't equal a touchdown. All of Jamal Williams' touchdowns came from within the 10-yard line, and that is a stat that can be backed up and looked up. Montgomery at 11. How many did Swift had that year? Isn't done. You are a Chiefs fan. I think we can beat the Chiefs with our roster as is. Sorry, not sorry. You put our 90 up against their 90. Let them all play. Each string you can make out of that plays a quarter. Tell me who wins at the end of it. I think we'd be fine until Suckbelt got in there. That's why I want him gone and anybody else in. Or we just go first half with Goff, second half with Hooker. There we go. It's getting that time of day where I got to talk about our sponsors. And my favorite sponsor is the one, I don't care what team you follow in the NFL, as long as it's not them, it's FTP. Put it in the chat, people. We all know what it means. Fornicate the Packers for the pride. File transfer protocol. Flog the porpoise. Hendon Hooker in the preseason over Sudfeld Freeze? Yes. I firmly believe this team, without being a homer, can beat any team. Not saying they won't be difficult, but it's possible. I said there's 26, 27 teams. They have 17 winnable games on their schedule. And the Lions are at near the top of that list of the 17 winnable games on the schedule. Yes. Yes. You did it in the Von Doom voice and it by spelling it out. I love it. And last but not least, our favorite sponsor, Brandon Service, right at the corner of Grand Service and West Atherton Road. Why are they our favorite sponsor? They actually paid me to do this ad. They're at 602 West Atherton Road in Flint, Michigan. Flint, where the water's shit, but the tires are good. Used tires starting at $40. If you need new tires, please call 810-233-8230. Give us a call. We'll get you your quote. If you mention this ad when you're buying a set, you will get $10 off. It is my pleasure to talk football with you guys. Tomorrow I will be doing, FTB and FTV, 100%. This is AG's Prove It year. He has a full team and a full lineup. He has nothing to blame now. And he has much better assistants around him. Calvin Shepard's always been good. But Terrell Williams and Deshae Townsend was major upgrades for this defense. Yeah, JJ McCarthy is threatening to hold out. I brought that up as my first subject. In case you didn't notice, I said he literally said he wants his signing bonus paid before he'll sign in full. F the Bass. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. Starts right here. I will be doing the Sion Baki draft profile tomorrow. Tell you what I think of them. Have a blessed day, everybody. Peace, love, chicory.
Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.